The calculated life, but is God in the equation? That's the title, that's the topic of today's Daily Dose. Look, sometimes life can feel like a complex mathematical equation. How does it all fit together? Is it really possible to figure all of this out? It seems to be so many different variables. Now look, I took business calculus in college, but by no means would I ever be considered a math wizard. However, I do know a few things about approaching life, and here's something at the top of my list. And that is, approaching any situation without understanding God's role can be daunting and even dangerous. Not including God, it's going to typically result in poor decisions and cause a lot of anxiety. You know, back in the day, after Joshua and the Israelites inhabited the Promised Land, they were approached with some decisions, some mathematical life equations and calculations that they had to do. Who should they allow into their camp? Who should we make a treaty with? Well, Joshua and the leaders decided to leave God out of this decision. They were just going to leave God out. They were going to try to solve this life question on their own. Here's how it went down. It went like this. It says that the men of Israel sampled their provisions, but did not inquire of the Lord. Then Joshua made a treaty of peace with them to let them live. And the leaders of the assembly ratified it by oath. Joshua 9:14 and 15. But here's the problem. Here's the problem with what just went down. Joshua just miscalculated. Major miscalculation. And he just made peace with the enemy. An enemy who was tricking them into this treaty. Why did he make peace? How did he miscalculate so badly? Because Joshua and the leaders of Israel, they operated on their own. They didn't inquire of the Lord. They just did what they assumed to be most prudent. They left God out of the decision, out of the process, out of the equation. They decided to walk by sight, not consult the Lord, whose mission they were on in the first place, right? Now maybe you're so worried about life and about your future because maybe it's because you're missing the key variable to the whole equation, and that's God. Maybe you can't figure it out because you aren't asking God. Maybe you're trying to be the math whiz, the life whiz, the one who's trying to be the expert at life and godliness instead of leaning on the one who wrote the book on it, who not only has the answers, but he is the answer. Look, we can't go through life oblivious to the fact that God is part of our equation, that we need Him. In fact, we got to realize that God is the constant in our equation of life. He's the one factor that will never change. He has the greatest impact on the final results. I found this following statement here from Oswald Chambers, and he recently corrected some of my thinking and brought some of my mind and heart back to a place of peace as I was reminded of God's constant sovereignty and active involvement in all areas of my life. Here's what Chambers has to say. He says, "Have you been bolstering up that stupid soul of yours with the idea that your circumstances are too much for God? Put all supposing on one side and dwell in the shadow of the Almighty. Deliberately tell God that you will not fret about that thing. All our fret and worry is caused by calculating without God." Wow. Calculating without God. So, beloved, include God in all that you do, in all that you think, in all that you imagine. Lean on the Lord, not on your own understanding. And then go out and be blessed.